Is Harry McCurdy eligible for Scotland? Would you call him up?
Um, he might do better than Shea Adams. Who knows?
We're not at that stage yet. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Salt and Sauce podcast, looking at Edinburgh's two big football clubs, Hibs and Hearts. I'm joined by my good, despite being a Hibs fan, friend Robert. Robert, how are you doing this week?
I'm okay. I'm okay. A bit deflated after the Scotland game, but looking forward to club football returning.
Getting back to proper football, I think that's
Exactly.
Before we get stuck in, then we will talk about that Scotland game. We'll talk about the Hibs game and the Hearts game coming up. We'll obviously just give a thanks to our sponsors. We've got AW Decker, a local painting and decorating firm. Their details are up on the screen just now. Anyone looking to get any work done inside their house, do give these guys a call. And Robert, our other sponsor.
Our other sponsors, Mint Box Removals. So anyone needing anything removed up from their office or from their house, these guys are really good. You just have to go on their website for some really good reviews. So,
And can they remove Kenny McLean?
yes, immediately.
That'd be good. Speaking of which, the Scotland game. The first leg, obviously, great result away in Greece. It was never a penalty. I don't know what you thought of that, the penalty.
It was a shocker.
Yeah. If that's given against you, you're absolutely furious. You take it though, because I think if you look back at the Nations League, we had that much bad luck against us with last minute goals and things like that. So we'll take it. And then we score it, obviously, which is great. I thought we played really well the first half. We were moving
Yeah.
the ball around nice. I thought, oh my God, we look comfortable
Yeah.
here. And Greece, okay, they're not as good as when they won the Euros, 20 years ago or whatever, but like they're all right.
Yeah.
And second half, they absolutely pasted us. How they didn't score.
And
I,
that 17-year-old boy as well is class. What's his name? Correct Stitz or something?
I actually can't remember, but oh my God, he is so good.
Yeah, he's going to be.
He's got a wee bit of attitude about him as well. Like he was giving it a bit to the fans and stuff like that.
We didn't deserve to win. Like, let's be honest. It was a total Scotland v France job.
It was a wee bit. It was a wee bit, but then I don't know. Part of me was thinking like, because Scotland we're never going to be that good. Like we've got a ceiling, and I
Yeah.
think that when we're playing a reasonably big European team away from home, we're probably going to have to be a bit backs to the wall.
I
So
know, but I just thought we gave up too much possession in the second half. We were too negative. When we showed how comfortable on the ball we could be
yeah,
in the first half, it was just like it was two different teams that came out, and unfortunately, that team that kind of came out in the second half from the first leg started the second leg.
well, yeah, yeah. You're absolutely. I mean, I actually went to the game on Sunday as well. I went through to Hampden with my mate. I'm trying to get into Scotland games a bit more. And do you know the one thing that got me was why on earth Lewis Ferguson wasn't starting again?
Over
I,
Kenny McLean.
well, yeah, I mean McLean, the obvious one, but just in general, not McLean. Ferguson was brilliant
Yeah,
Thursday. I really rated him. I thought he looked class. And you've also got that McLean is. I mean, he's still at Norwich. He's a bit part player at Norwich, and you've then got Ferguson, who is like young player of the year in the Serie A.
yeah.
I mean, he's been brilliant out there. I don't get it at all how he did, and maybe it's a fitness thing. I don't know, but I thought that was it.
I think it's more that what's the guy's Christie. I think it's more that Christie's one of Clark's favourites, and he was just looking for a way to get him in the team.
But he's put him out wide. But Christie's been playing a more sort of defensive midfield role for Bournemouth, and he's been really good. He's been class there.
No, I know. I thought we were just awful, and you know what it reminded me of. Like, not to be too negative, but it was the Euros all over again. That
Oh yeah, definitely.
we can't keep the ball. We're negative. We're passing the ball backwards rather than forwards. We're one up front. No support. Subs baffling. Just
Yeah.
I and I've had a lot of arguments about this with one of my Hibs mates actually about the setup. I think Clark has reached his ceiling with Scotland. Like, I don't see us getting any better than what. Obviously, okay, we've had a good run in things, but I just don't see us getting any better. And it's never been easier to qualify for a tournament.
Yeah.
And we've never had a squad as good as what we have. So there's those two things as well that have to be factored into Clark's run. But the two tournaments we've had have been a disgrace.
It's so disappointing to finally get there and be as
Yeah.
big as that. So the thing is, Clark, I think he's got enough credit in the bank to have another campaign. We'll give him it. Although I am a bit worried we've got Greece to play twice. But I mean, Clark will get to see out his contract. And I don't think there's any doubt that he'll go and everyone will say, well done, like overall good job. But the tournaments are always going to be it's going to stick in the throat big.
That's what people remember. The fans, like, okay, when David Marshall saves that, was it Mitrovic penalty, Serbia? Was it Mitrovic that took it?
Yeah, I think he saved
I
one.
can't remember. I think it might have been. But anyway, when he saves that, right, you remember that because we hadn't qualified for so long. But in general, you remember how you perform in the big matches. And the big matches are tournaments. We were there ourselves over there, the buzz, like everyone was just so excited. No one thought we were going to beat Germany, but we thought we were going to give a good account of ourselves. And
like when we played Brazil in France '98, you thought
exactly,
going to lose, but like we in fact we got ourselves back in the game and all that.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't enjoy watching Clark football.
Oh.
I never have done. And I don't think that when we need to attack teams, when we go 1-0 down, I don't think he knows what to do. He's a backs to the wall manager, organisation. He's a bit of a McInnes.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. If you're winning, you're like, okay, fine, we'll take that. You know, if we'd scraped the 1-0 against Germany in the Euros, you'd be going,
absolutely. But we don't. So you can't have both.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I was at the Spain game, we won 2-0, and that was amazing and things like that. But no, I totally agree. It doesn't matter whether you want him to have this campaign or not. He's going to get this campaign, and then you'll go after that, and then probably time to move on.
Yeah, be interesting to see what kind of direction the SFA go in. Will they go foreign or will they look to Scotland again? Be interesting.
I'd quite like, although it's probably a similar brand, I'd love Moyes. Great manager. But
Moyes teams, they score lots of goals.
Yeah.
You know, so I know obviously it's defence first, but he can get you back in the game. He's got a plan B. I just look at, and it was a big criticism I had of Jack Ross as well, that when we're behind, when Scotland are losing, and we need to attack teams, I just don't think he's comfortable with doing that.
And you don't feel inspired. You don't think you do this.
Like, there was never a moment in there. There was a lot of the game left when they sucker punched us in the second half, Greece. There was never a moment where we had sustained pressure or that you thought, well, you know, we only need 2 goals. Let's get one, get the crowd back up for it, get us back in the game. There was nothing at all.
It was always going to be 4-0 rather than 3-1.
Exactly.
Anyway, listen, it's not the Scotland podcast, but it was, you know, we are 2 Scottish teams, obviously, and it was disappointing. So back to proper football. You've got St Johnstone at the weekend at home. I mean, on paper, it's the easiest game in the league. How are you feeling about it?
I'm reasonably confident. We haven't been great the last couple of games. I think it's partly down to probably a bit of tiredness, mental fatigue, and missing Nicky Cadden as well. He's just such a big part of the way Gray likes to play, as we've kind of touched on. But we should have a fully fit Ellie Johan who can play out there. Obita should be able to do a job out there as well if we need him to. We should have too much quality for St Johnstone, and they need points. They're going to open up. The worst thing that can probably happen is that they go 1 up. As we know, they are a bit of a bogey team as well over the years for us. As Killy are as well. But I think at home, need a result. We need to bounce back from what was, in the end, a disappointing result in Kilmarnock. That, you know, it did feel like a defeat. and we need to win. So I'm going for 2-0 Hibs.
Yeah, it seems reasonable. The one thing I suppose as a Hearts fan, partly obviously wanting Hibs to drop points for that reason, but also because we want to catch you in the league, um, is thinking, well, St Johnstone, like they do go all out.
Yeah,
And I mean, if they have a good day and you have a bad day, like they'll score a couple of goals and win the game.
yeah,
But and as you say, I'm sure even when you had that brilliant run, you drew with St Johnstone, and amongst that run, I think at McDermott,
yeah.
albeit the pitch was a definite leveler. That said, I think although Cadden's been great, Nicky Cadden, I think will beat as a good player as well. I don't think it is a big loss because he's well, pretty much your best player at the minute. But I think it's also probably your strongest backup you've got
Mm,
in any position because it'll be.
Probably.
I rate will be. I think he's all right.
Yeah, he's okay. He's okay. He just doesn't have that same drive, and he doesn't have the same delivery.
No, of course not. But that's because Cadden's your best player, and
Yeah,
it's like you lose Messi. Who's going to come
of
in
course. Yeah, yeah.
at Barca. Um,
And Cadden's as good as Messi.
yeah, they're very similar. I realised that the minute I said it, I thought, oh, good. I'd probably go. I'm going to say because St Johnstone scored goals, I'm going to say Hibs 3-2. I think because St Johnstone score goals and they open up, so I'll go high scoring 3-2 for Hibs.
The only thing is, if we get the first goal, St Johnstone could be in for a pasting because with the likes of Boyle, Bowie, these guys, Hoylett, Johan, we are good on the counter attack. We get a lot of goals from our counter attack. We struggle when teams sit in. There's no way St Johnstone can afford to sit in. They have to go for the win. They've no choice. So, and it's not in the manager's philosophy. And he said, "I'm going to keep attacking." They've is it Sidibe up front?
Yeah, yes,
Sidibe,
yeah.
he's a good player. He's a big unit of a boy as well.
Yeah.
So the key is scoring early, scoring first. They will continue to open up, and then we should be able to pick them off. That being said, our defence could have an off day, as you said, and Sidibe could run riot at Easter Road, but
Or hopefully, former Hearts player Mackenzie Kirk bangs in a hat trick.
nah, I don't see it happening.
Son of
Don't even know who he is.
son of Andy Kirk. You'll remember Andy Kirk.
Nah, I don't know who he is either.
Well,
No, I do.
he scored the first before another striker scored four one day. Anyway. Um, so amazingly, you've got on paper the easiest fixture in the league.
Yeah.
On paper, the hardest fixture in the league. Obviously, away to Celtic. I mean, the first thing to say is we'll almost certainly lose. That's a bit of a given. Things that could maybe count in our favour. We are playing better than we were a few months ago. Okay, Hibs game was disappointing, but overall we're in good form. We started scoring a few more goals. Kabangu in particular scoring goals. That's kind of it really. I've not got too much more because I even think Celtic being a little bit out of form. I mean, out of form for Celtic means like they dropped 3 points in
Yeah.
however many games, or well 6 points because of Hibs as well. Sorry, but either way, that's hardly a disastrous run of form. But it's all relative. And I actually think if anything, them losing to Rangers, I think they're just going to be a wounded animal. They're going to be raging. They're going to be furious, and it might actually end up being really bad for us from that point of view. But even if it's not, as Celtic showed Hibs in the cup game, and we agreed Hibs weren't exactly amazing that day, but neither were Celtic. But they still were pretty comfortable in their victory overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think an average Celtic performance probably still gets them a 1 or 2-0 victory reasonably comfortably. So similar to what you did a few weeks ago, I've got a prediction in my head and a prediction in my heart. And the prediction in my heart is 1-0 to Hearts.
Okay.
And the prediction in my head is 2-0 to Hearts. No, it's not. Prediction in my head is Celtic 3-1.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, just to jump on, you mentioned Hibs Kelly. I got that bang on. I said 1-1.
You did. Yeah. Look, I guess I don't give Hearts a chance. And it's similar. The gap is just too big when Celtic even as you say, when they don't turn up, the gap's so big that you need other things like what Hibs had, a little bit of luck and things to go your way, and like all their players to have an off day, which pretty much is what happened, and all our players turned up. That's
And
how we managed to get that result against them.
and it was at Easter Road, not
And
Celtic.
it was at Easter Road. At
Yeah,
Celtic Park, they're a different animal. Now, as you say, they lost to Rangers. They're going to be the fans are going to be like demanding a response. They usually do bounce back with the win as well when they get a bad result.
yeah.
They've had no Europe, so they're really, really rested. Likes of McGregor doesn't go away with Scotland anymore. Really key to how they play. So um, I don't see it. But what I would say is that on the other side of things, if Hearts were to get a result again, you're going to need a bit of luck. You're going to maybe need a red card, a penalty. You're going to need their players to be off. Craig Gordon to have a really good game, and for the likes of Kabangu or Wilson when they get the chance to put it away, because Hearts will have chances. Because
Yeah.
that's this even the cup game against Hibs, where Hibs were awful. Bowie was through 1-on-1. Do you know what I mean? So the you just don't get many. So when you do get them, particularly at Celtic Park, you have to get them, and Hearts have to score first. If Celtic score first, it
Oh
could
yeah.
be a really, really, really bad day. But the longer you keep it 0-0, the fans will get a bit agitated. Um,
Or even, I mean, even at 1-0 to them, if they go 1-0 up, but you're going into the 80th minute,
yeah,
only one goal behind. I mean,
yeah,
as you say, it takes a penalty, a deflection,
exactly.
a piece, and you'd be. I mean, either of our teams would be all over a point from Celtic Park. It would be,
Oh, absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. And what I would say is though, okay, Hearts want top six. You also want to catch Hibs. This could be come close a day on Saturday, an 8 point gap between Hibs and Hearts,
oh yeah,
which
and
for all
probably
the good work that has happened, um, Hearts kind of need to go for it.
no. It probably will be an 8 point gap when you consider the two games. And I guess we just need to look at, well, what happens after that. Obviously, it becomes less and less likely the fewer games they are, and the bigger the gap grows. But I mean, really, whether it's Hibs or not, and obviously there's Dundee United and Aberdeen there, and there's Motherwell behind us.
Yeah,
It's about just getting as many points as you can and finishing as high
yeah,
as you can. That's ultimately what we're trying to do. Obviously, it'd be great to get thirds, regardless of where Hibs are in the league. But
yeah.
it does feel less and less likely.
But look, stranger things have happened. Hearts don't have a great record in Glasgow.
We won
Like,
there last season. You're right, by the way. We don't, and it's really annoying because I'd love for us to just take the handbrake off sometimes. But we did. We
yeah,
won 2-0 at Celtic Park last season, and by all accounts played really well. So, I mean, it's another example of we had a good day, they had a bad day.
yeah.
There weren't any controversial refereeing decisions, but put it this way, I wouldn't bank on a 2-0 again. It'd be unlikely.
What I would say though is under Critchley, I think under the likes of Nielsen, they're going to go there and park the bus. I don't think Critchley's going to do that. I think he's going to, without going gung ho, I think you're going to go there to try and create chances and um, try and frustrate them, but also you'll have something going the other way. It's
Yeah.
just, as I said, if Celtic score within the first 20, it's
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's going to be very, very difficult.
Totally agree.
Hearts again. And so score predictions 3-0 Celtic.
And you're not saying 1-0 to Hearts in your heart of hearts?
No, they're not in the heart.
Heartless.
Yeah, 3-0.
Nah, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Well, obviously we'll see what happens. I agree, 8 point gap, most likely outcome from the weekend, but we'll wait and see. Short and sweet because there was no real games to review other than the Scotland embarrassment. But
One last question on that, Stuart. Just as it was Scotland, it's a hot topic. Steve Clark for you, stay or go?
I think just because of the logistics of it all, stay for now. Um, if he was going to go, I would have done it just straight at the end of the last campaign.
And I would have like not renewed his contract after that personally, but
But with Will, he would have said, thanks for everything.
exactly, and I would have approached Moyes for it, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not optimistic with him in charge that we're going to qualify even for the next one. And if we do qualify, well, I'm not confident we're going to do anything if we get there. I just think he's there right now because there's no better alternative, and that's sometimes the position you find yourself in. I just think,
yeah,
if there was another Scottish manager right now, say McInnes was flying with Killie or something, it'd be
Moyes
a big
hasn't
push.
rejoined.
Or exactly, or Moyes wasn't at a club. I think there'd be a real call to
maybe
get a bit of freshness in. It's just gone a bit stale.
One slight bonus, and I suppose to bring it back to the Edinburgh clubs, Hearts had both Scotland's oldest ever and youngest ever player on the pitch.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know what? It doesn't really mean much, but it's a nice moment, and I think regardless of where, I mean, even as a Hibs fan, I know that you like Craig Gordon and or certainly respect him as a goalie.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think even just as a football fan and as someone who's played football, and you had that dream for James Dobson to get on the pitch as a 17-year-old, and he does look a good player. That's a nice moment certainly for us, but I think for anyone that likes football.
And Clark capped Stevenson and Hanlon as well. So
did he?
Yeah, he gave Stevenson and Hanlon Scotland cap. So we can't forget that. And they actually played quite well. They actually played well. So that's another little Steve Clark memory.
Clark must stay. What a manager.
That's to stay.
Right. Robert, great to catch up. Let's find out what happens at the weekend, and good luck, St Johnstone.
I'm hoping I'm like the Cheshire Cat and it's an 8-point gap.
And you would be as well, wouldn't you?
Oh, honestly, just wait for it. Right.